Witaju, pani та panowe, this is Ukrainian Spirit, and today we still continue our journey into the world of craft Ukrainian alcohol. As you can see behind me, this cute little pony, we are sitting on a ranch here in the beautiful Carpathian Mountains in Transcarpathia, Zakarpattia region of Ukraine. But today's focus is still a distillate from Genio Vovkulaka distillery from Kiev region of Ukraine. And today's drink is still a beer distillate, like the previous two we have reviewed already. This one promises to be the best one yet. We will find out, so stay tuned. Previously, we have reviewed those two beer distillates from Genio Vovkulaka distillery, and the first one was more like your bitter-sweet liqueur rather than beer distillate, in my opinion, more like warm wood, like sweet licorice, pretty much. This one was interesting. This one was very hoppy, very herbal, so it gave this appearance of actual beer, like really hoppy, almost IPA, but rather Pilsner type of beer distilled. But this one is the only thing that it says on the label, that it's 12 months. I'm not sure what does it mean. I suppose it was some kind of maturation involved, and indeed from the color we can assume that it has been in contact with wood. Probably some kind of coloring was added as well, because it's really dark, but maybe it's just the type of wood, really fresh young wood that they have used. But I suppose there is something else going on here. Let me pour a little bit. Okay. I was not mistaken. Definitely lot of wood, lot of oak in the smell, on the nose, and particularly young, fresh wood. It is somewhat popular recent years in Ukraine to buy small casks, really small ones, for home maturation. The problem with those casks, in my opinion, that they are very young, very fresh, and you shouldn't use fresh wood to mature your sophisticated drinks. And really, when you mature in any kind of drink, fresh wood gives too much of its taste, too much of these tannins, of this bitterness and woodiness and color as well, to be enjoyable, especially with heavier spirits, heavier drinks that tend to get even more of this flavor. So if you buy in small cask for the purpose of rematuring some kind of whiskey or maybe your own homemade alcohol, maturing cocktails, if the theme recently, I would suggest use it for 2, 3, 4, 5 even months with some cheaper wine, water. Initially only water is good enough as well, not for the purpose of drinking, of course, but for the purpose of maturing the wood itself first. And do not put it in the cask, in the small casks, for too long. They will dry out, they will evaporate, and in worst case, even if you store them in a really cool and moist place, the area of contact with air is just too great, because in large whiskey factories they use 250, 340 liters barrels, in wine factories as well, and they have only like 5% or 2% area in contact with oxygen, so maturation goes really slowly. With small barrel you cannot control maturation at all, like it happens instantaneously, and your drink just oxidizes, just takes a lot of oak taste and smell on it, and doesn't come out particularly good if you leave it there for too long. Week 2, maybe a month max. So, what can I say about this particular alcohol? It smells of fresh oak and it smells like whiskey, particularly blended whiskey, but maybe something with higher grain content. But they say that it has been triple distilled from craft beer, and I'm not sure what kind of corn was used for this beer. And distilling any kind of beer is different from distilling a mash that is specifically made for whiskey. So it's an interesting concept and interesting take on whiskey production. And this is not whiskey, of course, but they call it actually pivovica, or something that is made from pivo, which is beer in Ukrainian. So apart from having this young oak smell, it's not too bad, not at all. It's slightly sweet. It's young, fresh, fragrant, energetic, almost. So let me taste it. So for your whiskey lovers or connoisseurs, it wouldn't be your alcohol of choice just because it's sweet. It has a lot of this wood presence, which somewhat, in my opinion, ruins the experience. But it's not too bad. I had some alcohols on this show that were matured in either worse barrels, fresher barrels, or for too long. This one has a lot of young wood, but it's manageable. But it's definitely very sweet, unlike your typical whiskey. However, the flavor profile of this drink reminds me more of proper, in my opinion, excuse me if it doesn't match your opinion, but proper Scottish whiskey. It doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden your Highland Parks or Bruichladdich or whatever. No, it is very artisan type of drink. So it's experimental, it's unusual, but the feeling it invokes in me, it matches more when I drink some kind of nice Scottish whiskey rather than just drinking, I don't know, American corn blend or something like that. So it is really nice drink. I'm not sure why they have decided to add so much sugar in it, because there are usually two reasons for adding sugar. It's either to mask some kind of imperfection in the alcohol. It was too harsh, too extreme, too sour, too bitter, or not high quality enough. Or it was a deliberate choice to dress up the drink in a way, because some people, many people in fact, prefer more sugar content in their foods and in their drinks. Not me, but I cannot speak for every person on earth. And I would love to taste a version that wasn't matured that long, or wasn't matured in so fresh barrels, and definitely at least with less sugar, because at this point it's more like Drambuie, which is a Scottish whiskey liqueur, so sugar and whiskey and some herbs probably. So it is more like Drambuie than the actual Scottish whiskey, and I believe that it has potential. It is really nice drink, and I applaud Genio Vovkulaka, this distillery, for having those three very, very distinct but essentially true to their supposed identity, true to being pivovica or beer distillate. They are bringing something new to the table. I haven't tasted those combinations of tastes yet, and I really like that I did. Among those three, I would definitely select this one because it's more like whiskey. So it's something that I can mix with other whiskeys and make some whiskey cocktail, like you would do with rev'yu or hike during the winter, for example. But in terms of novelty, in terms of actually like smiling because I've tasted it, definitely the hoppy version, the herbal version, because it is like you get a beer which is 40% alcohol by volume. Really, really nice. I really enjoyed this one. Next time we're gonna touch upon those two, which are more Ukrainian traditional things. So stay tuned, and as usual, будьмо!